Hello there, and welcome to Dr. T for April 19th. And we're going to start off with a very interesting level 1. There is a lot of free container GBE floating around here, and I couldn't help myself. I threw the critters and then was like, ah, crap, wait, no. So, I'm guessing if you need help with this stage, you probably don't have critters. But what you can do is drop one boat in the far right, where I dropped the first one in the far left, where I dropped the third one, and then one right in front of the storage container, right there. And if you have extra boats, by all means, split them up as you see fit. But if you drop tanks in these different places, they will slowly go around and gather up a bunch of free GBE. I would suggest landing the one on the far left first, because it will path up and around and it will take forever. But if they all kind of gather in around the same time, that's awesome, and hopefully you'll have more than enough GBE to take out the sniper tower, so that, your low-level troops don't have any problems. Anyway, let's move on to Stage 2, which also has a weird amount of free GBE floating around on it, which is fantastic, because there's a boom cannon, and we're going to want to use that free GBE that we've gathered up to take out the boom cannon. And a shock launcher. Sorry, I forgot about the shock launcher. So we'll toss some AoE fun time over on the left-hand side with the cannon, because that'll take out the mines, do some damage to the cannon, take out the shock launcher, kind of all of the above, and then just artillery on the lone boom cannon, because there's not a lot around it that we can do damage to. And then we launch the cannons. Now, I tossed critters this time too, just because I wanted to speed it along and figured they could run around and kill some extra storage containers while my poor tanks slowly crawl through. But by all means, if you don't have the critters, let the tanks slowly crawl through. And they're over there in the forest. Look at them go. Oh, they're gonna have a picnic maybe, I don't know. So once they've finally wrought destruction on all of the defenseless objects on the map, they will go after easy prey, which is the machine gun, which is fantastic, because right behind that machine gun is the cannon, and the cannon can actually do bad things to our tanks, so we can throw GBE at it because of all of those different things that we just blowed up good. Once that's all done, flare into the bottom, well, I guess it would be the top left or back left, the corner at, like, let's say 9 o'clock from the base. Now, I threw critters at the rocket launcher, but, you could throw whatever you want, as long as it kills the rocket launcher, and it literally leaves your remaining tanks completely unopposed. So, speeding along, after the last two stages of, like, here's all the GBE in the world, I don't know what to do, there's, like, nothing on this. It's a very sparse map. It's very wrenching, but it's good, because it provides us interesting challenges. To start, use a little GBE to soften up that sniper tower and the cannon, and then land the tanks on the left hand side and slowly start pew-pewing the way through on the... oh, sorry, I left the cannon. Shock launcher, or shock bomb on the cannon. Holy smokes. Okay, and then slowly clear up the defenses on the left-hand side. It's really nothing too scary. Like, that sniper tower is kind of a lol sniper tower. And then flare into the very bottom, well, far left corner. It's not really the bottom, but you know what I mean, hopefully. And if you don't, just watch the video and you'll see where I put the flare, and put your flare there. And then, again, using some GBE just to take out the sniper towers. And the rocket launcher, because rocket launchers are annoying. Especially today. Super, super annoying. Anyways, once that rocket launcher is clear, nothing can hit your tanks while you sit here and slowly cut down that HQ. So we're going to fast forward with some gunboat attacks and move on to stage 4, which is hopefully where things start getting interesting for you guys, because I don't know, the first 3 stages, if you can let me know, like, if there's anyone out there that actually does get any help from those first stages. I'm thinking of trying to fast forward them so that I can spend more time on the later levels and stuff like that. Feedback always appreciated. So for stage 4, we're taking out the shock launcher with a barrage, and it has the convenient bonus of weakening the sniper tower next to it and taking out the cannon, both of which are bad for our tanks, so it's great. I do have to use an extra artillery. There we go. And then we can land in the, I guess, very southmost corner. And the reason I did this is I realized I could have skipped past some of this stuff, but by landing down here and just sweeping up, instead of having defenses behind me for the first little bit, picking away at my medics, I can just go through here. The 2 sniper towers are meh, but the mortars are really not scary, and neither is the machine gun, which means there's a decent amount of easy to kill defenses, I guess, here. And we can use those for free GBE, which will come in handy later on when we hit this cannon that is scarier. And we can throw a shock down, take out both cannons, and a mortar, and the machine guns, even though, like, they don't really matter. But the important part is we've taken out the 2 cannons. And then once that shock wears off, you can either throw another shock to hit the remaining cannon and the sniper tower, or you can just be, studly like me and let the cannon shoot at your tanks, because the medics are having no problem keeping up with it. Because after rolling through there, my poor tanks, they didn't take really that much damage. The medics looked bored. I wanted to keep them entertained. They were all cleaning their glasses. I don't know. So, gonna throw some AoE down around the machine gun in the back there. It's not that I'm trying to take out that machine gun, it's that I'm trying to take out all those stupid friggin' boom mines. And of course, somehow, I missed a freaking boom mine. Also, side note, very important to keep your guys to the far left at this point, because there is a boom cannon just to the right, just off screen, and we don't want that boom cannon having his way with our lovely ladies and their tanks. I also threw a shock on this flamethrower, maybe not 100% necessary, but the flamethrowers can do some pretty nasty damage, and we were in range, so just to make life easier, I figured why not. Anyways, once we clear that, we're in Safeville and can clean up the Stage 4 HQ with no problems. And so we're going to throw some GBE and hopefully speed things up a little bit. Obviously not necessary if you don't have the spare GBE. And that will take us to moving on to Stage 5. And Stage 5 is where things started to get a little interesting, I guess you could say. There are a whole bunch of boom cannons and shock launchers all over the right-hand corner, so I opted to stay the fuck away from there. Instead, I went to the left side, which, well, as you can see, is relatively undefended. Like, I even just dropped the 2 tanks because I knew they could outrange the flamethrower. And then once the flamethrower was toast, I landed more troops. Just because if I had landed too many troops right away, some of them would have landed right in front of the flamethrower, may have been in range, may have had problems. So it was kind of a way of cleaning up the flamethrower without having to risk any of my lads or lassies. I suck at Scottish accents. I swear I was trying to do one. So there are 2 shock launchers, which we can clean up with GBE, and fortunately by taking the route we will actually pick up a little bit of extra. And then we can take out the last boom cannon that has range. Now there is a shock launcher down there in the south, and I'm pretty sure if you hug the very top line, you won't have to worry about it having range on you, but I'm lazy and I got the free GBE, so I'm laying it down to knock that thing out. Now, if you have to use your GBE to, stun these sniper towers, or, throw heals, or do whatever you need to, by all means, that last shock launcher, totally optional. So we let the tanks roll in here, and for some reason, it's like there's freaking tank nip down in the south. There's a couple of tanks who are just always like, hey guys, let's go down here. They're having a picnic. It'll be great fun. And I don't know why. And so a few reflares to keep them all focused on the task at hand. But once we get up into that top left-hand corner, there's one sniper tower that still has range on us, but with all of our medics sitting there healing away, that sniper tower just has no chance in doing anything scary. And with that, we can take down stage 5 with relative ease, and then throw critters just because screw you, Dr. T. That's for yesterday when I couldn't even get past stage 6. So, moving on to stage 6, and oh god, I'm having flashbacks. There is a boom cannon up front to take out, and with a little GBE, there we go. Now, I flared into the far right corner, and then landed my medics first down at the bottom of the beach where they'd be safe. Unfortunately, I hit the wrong medics, but that's okay. And then I stunned the 2 defenses that actually chill down in that corner. What I didn't stop to think about was the cannon would still have range. So what I could have done is just landed everything and then slowly moved up into the corner. It probably would have been a little bit better. Do whatever looks like it'll work for you. And then I stunned the second cannon and sniper tower just because they can hurt our poor tanks. And I proceeded to ride up the right-hand side here, flaring to the right to avoid the cannon and throwing shocks down on the sniper towers, which I expected would, be my first target with the location, but apparently not so much. So I had to throw another shock, this time stunning all of the mortars and sniper towers, just because the mortars, are in range now. And after reviewing this, after looking at it after the attack, I probably could have gone up the left side and worked my way around and just cleaned up there's boom cannon over there that would need to go, and you can actually see it on the left there on the screen that would have to go. It was the number of sniper towers that kind of scared me over there, but I realized I probably could have taken the cluster of 4 you see just to the left and south of that boom cannon. Probably could have taken all those sniper towers out with one shock, making them, a heck of a lot less scary, but, we were already this far into the attack, and had to kind of go with the flow. But by all means, if, because I did take fairly heavy losses here, if you want to try going that left route, I think it might be doable, maybe even a little easier than going up the right. I was hoping the right would be a little easier because of the rocket launchers and mortars, which normally aren't that big of a deal, but there's just enough of them in this one to make them pain in the butthole. Okay, so up until this point, no boost on any of my statues, but now we're coming up on stage 7, and because of my poor showing yesterday, I felt that, today was Vindication Day. Today was the day I could come back and really do some damage to Dr. T. I, however, had to boost my troop damage, my troop health, and my GBE because, oh my god, everything's right on the beach. This is scary. So I dropped the 2 barrages to really... It was to kind of soften up those defenses, but also to take out all of those freaking mines. I then dropped 5... friggin' artilleries on the boom cannon and the sniper tower in the back there, and then I landed all my guys right in front of this cluster to the left and threw down the stun so that my tanks could go through. Now the nice thing is they can burn through a pretty decent amount of them because they were softened up. And then once we take all those out, we're gonna flare back down into the bottom and let the tanks kind of go back up towards the mortar, and then we're going to toss more critters because all of those mines are mighty nasty. And then one last heal with basically the last of my GBE, and we set up shop to shoot at the HQ. And it's brutal, man. Like, there's a couple of rocket launchers doing hefty damage. You got the sniper tower there slowly picking my guys off. If I had a little more GBE, what I would have liked to have done would be flare onto that sniper tower, knock it out, and then flare back into the corner on the beach again, and then let them roll out. Without that sniper tower there picking away at my tanks, I probably would have had a lot fewer losses. And by no means would I have had no losses, but I just would have had fewer. So from this position, basically we bomb away on the headquarters, and after several minutes, the HQ is nice and low, as are all of our tanks, and we can bite our nails hoping that it'll last long enough, but in the end, we come back successful and victorious and take out Dr. T Stage 7 because he's a butthole, and we're going to enjoy the snot out of his loot. So hey, why not? Anyways, guys, thank you for watching, and hopefully this helps you out. See you next time.